Halloween
Forever.
Welcome, boys and ghouls, to a very special mini-sode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Steve, you sound sick. You still feeling a little under the weather?
No, I was just being silly.
Oh, okay. We have all been cut. Well, at least I was under the weather. Steve was under the weather, so I was worried you were still a little congested. I'm feeling a little congested. You know what? I'm not going to let it get in my way.
I'm just a little hungover, you know?
Yeah, we were talking about that before we got on. By the way, guys, we're going to do a little Q&A this time around. It's going to be a lot of fun. I was trying to think of a vulgar thing that Q&A could stand for, but I couldn't think of a Q word, like a vulgar Q word. The only thing I can think of is queef, which is a little bit vulgar. I don't know. Anyway.
The Australians have queeb, which is also a queef, but they just say queeb. I don't know.
Let's see. It means the same thing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. Learn something new every day, guys.
Queeb, listen, we're cultured podcast, guys. We have some really fun listener submitted questions that you degenerate bastards sent our way that we're gonna throw out there and talk about a little bit and stuff like that. So it'll be a fun little kind of informal episode in that way. We did a Q&A episode a ways back, and folks seemed to really dig it, and we had some questions left over, and then we got a bunch of new questions. So we'll just do it for a while. See how many we get through. It should be fun. But before that, I was going to ask Meg, what did you get into last night? I know we were talking about the show I went to. What did you get into last night that you're still hungover at 5 p.m. the next day?
The long and short is I got drunk and joined a Polish club.
Oh, hell yeah.
The long of it is I actually met up with people I haven't seen in fucking forever at East End and got to meet their baby. And I'm pretty indifferent about having my own kids, but I fucking love kids. I think they're awesome. And this is the first time I got to meet her, and she was awesome and adorable and loved me. I'm a hilarious human, as I suggested in my story, guys. Mm-hmm. Why am I so fun and hilarious?
Babies,
ask a baby.
Babies really boost my self-esteem too. I'm like, I'm fucking hilarious. This baby's crap. I'm killing with babies. Yeah. They love it. I have a baby in my house right now as well. Because my brother and sister-in-law are in town and brought their 2-month-old little baby daughter with them. So we met her for the first time the other day, and she's chilling around. She's fucking ridiculously cute. Meg, you would get along with her great. She's super Nordic.
She's super into horses too.
I guarantee she's gonna be into horses, but she is. My brother, even though he's not, he looks Nordic. He's tall, blonde hair, blue eyed. And then his wife, who is very Nordic in nature, and they named the child Freya.
Fuck yeah.
So they've got like a Nordic metal name too. So this kid's gonna be 6 foot tall and like.
I hope her first concert is a black metal show. That would also make us get along really well.
Yeah.
What is your policy on putting corpse paint on a baby?
Oh, I'm open. I'm pro it, I guess. I don't know.
It's all right.
But yeah, she's super laid back, super chill little kid. So she's a cutie. But
you just got to make it non-toxic, because they are going to put it in their mouths. And,
that's true.
Oh yeah, they're going to eat it all. Yeah,
no
swallow a bunch of it. That's true.
Guys.
Yeah, no latex paint. No shoe polish.
Yeah, no, but I've been like, the other part of the story, I was like getting really into playing darts again. Like one of my coworkers likes playing. So like I'll meet up with him and his partner a lot. And I'm like, I'm not great, but I'm not terrible.
That's kind of like where I'm at. I enjoy darts as well. I'm kind of like that with bowling. Like I'm in a bowling league, every other Saturday kind of thing, go play in the bowling league. I'm not a good bowler, but I like to bowl. I enjoy the activity of bowling. I kind of suck at it.
Good.
I'm below average at it.
Like doing it,
Yeah.
The good thing about bowling and darts is that it doesn't really matter if you ever reach the pinnacle. Mm-hmm. And if you do, you already look the part.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no bowler or dartsman that looks like significantly better than any of the three of us.
No.
I mean, you can lie and make people believe that you're at the top of the game.
Well, yeah, I could totally, like, if I was a single man and I was out and about, picking up, trying to hook up at the bar, and I went up and I was like, yeah, I'm the number 10 ranked dart player in the world. They would have no reason to question that. But if I said I'm like an Olympic gymnast, they'd be like, probably not, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, you could definitely.
And then you just respond with, "Don't body shame me."
Yeah. Well, I do the floor exercise. That's my move. I do the little swizzle wand thing.
Would have been way more hilarious if you did like the balance beam, though. Like,
You
look like a guy.
top heavy, like
You look like a guy that would do really well on a balance beam.
yeah, said no one fucking ever. So yeah, that's true. I like that. That's one of the last things that I could theoretically go pro at. Like, if I'm still holding on to my dreams as a pro athlete, like, it's got to be bowling or darts. Or shuffleboard or something. It can't. It's not. I think I gave up my NBA dreams a while ago. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, that was a recent thing you gave up?
In the last 6 to 9 months. I think COVID really squashed my NBA dreams.
Got it.
And I think also being 38 years old and overweight probably had something to do with it too. But in any case, guys, we're not talking about our hopes and aspirations, although maybe we will in this here Q&A. Who knows? But before we do that, we do got a couple of quick things we got to knock off the list here. First of all, before I forget, because I keep almost forgetting the last couple episodes, is what beers we got. Meg, I know you're milking a hangover here. What are you drinking beers? Are you avoiding beers?
I'm drinking the beer drinkers beer. Some classic Pittsburgh Pills.
Yeah.
Iron City today.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can't see it, but Meg just went as she chugged the rest of a can of Iron City. Just a little hair of the dog situation there. Meg is slowly morphing into a 1940s steelworker.
Well, she joined a Polish club. So
Literally just told she joined a Polish club, which I hang around at the Hungarian club. I have no room to talk. But Meg was just talking about how brutally hungover she was, but then proceeded to finish her Iron City. And like I said, she's just slowly turning into pretty soon you'll be we'll just wake up one day and we'll have been a union welder for the last 30 years.
I can only hope.
Yeah.
I need a backup plan in case this beer career thing doesn't work out. You
make a fuckle of money welding.
She's just gonna find a union card in her purse and just go, huh?
What did I do last night?
Weird. All right, man. So Meg's up to her shit. Steve, what are you drinking there? I saw a bottle. That's out of the unless it's soju, that's out of the realm of
not soju.
Normalcy
it's brown bottle.
For you.
Brown bottle.
Yeah.
Soju come in green bottle.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, it's not soju. I was gonna say Steve never drinks out of a bottle, but then I remembered that soju Steve does.
Yeah. We were told earlier that somebody requested that we go back and do a kind of a roundup of older things that we enjoy.
We did, yeah. A retro throwback.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the only one that followed this prompt.
I did. I actually have 2 beers, but yes,
Steve,
I did.
Excuse me.
I thought Meg's applied.
I feel like it doesn't.
No.
If it's her everyday drinker,
yeah,
then she should have gone back to Sam Adams Boston Lager or something. Something she's turned her back on.
Yeah.
that was the parameter. Got it.
See, I didn't follow that.
That's what
either.
I felt like it was. I felt like it was something that we don't daily drink. Just something that something that started us off.
I have to be honest because I'm just an honest human. I totally forgot about that. So this just worked out in my favor. I mean, I have plenty of beers I could talk about that. I'd be like,
Meg,
yeah, man.
Classic Meg, failing upward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty good statement. But I feel like it's been nice because I think on a couple episodes, even recently, we've brought up a couple things that,
Some throwback brews. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to do
Dundee.
that because I had I had some Saranac last time around, and I still have some in the fridge. But I actually went in for a throwback as far as the podcast is concerned, and I'm drinking me a little Pilsner Urquell.
Of course.
Yeah,
Classic.
I just felt, it was a little bit of a throwback. I was out in Philly. I found some nice, fresh 500 milliliter cans. So I grabbed me that and never turned down a Pilsner Urquell. Although I finished my basement and am now like planning for where I'm going to build this bar. And so I took a lot of my beer things are going down to the basement because that's where the bar is going to be, which allows me to free up more space in my office for, spooky shit and toys, basically. But I also have another new beer here, which I'm going to crack into momentarily because my Pilsner Urquell is almost gone, which I really fucking dig. From Necromancer Brewing, Gold, which is they call it a Pittsburgh cream ale. It's just a nice little crispy cream ale.
It's kind of mildly appropriate that you'd be drinking one of their beers though, because like they do like all the quote unquote resurrecting old styles of sorts. So look at it in roundabout ways, guys. We're all doing the thing.
Knew, what do the kids say? We understood
the assignment.
Oh, we all understood the assignment. So let me ask the two of you.
Yes.
What am I drinking?
Oh, homebrew.
No, you idiots just passed over me.
No. I didn't pass over you.
Yeah, you did. You went to me, and then you went back and started talking about your own damn beer.
Well, then, because you guys were giving me a hard time about us not understanding the assignment.
I was
asking
if anybody.
The assignment.
I was giving Meg a hard time. I didn't know if you.
I gotcha. All right, moving on.
I still feel like I'm the only one who followed the assignment, though.
That's fine.
I really want to know what you're drinking, Steve. What you got?
I have a very classic Deschutes Blackfoot Porter.
Oh, sick. Nice.
Yeah. And this is like one of those 4 beers that started me in on craft. Because it was like Sam Adams. Yeah, Sam Adams Cherry Wheat, Lion's Head.
I know.
Okay, good.
Lion's Head was an early one for me.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then fucking Leinenkugel vanilla, the Snowdrift vanilla porter.
Snowdrift vanilla porter, yeah.
Before we move on, I have a comment about that, but I also just want to interject real fast. Talking about Brian's beers, is that I came up with a compliment in my head that would go along with me like making fun of people saying like you look like you'd be, a balance beam gymnast but a compliment is like you look like someone who would drink Pilsner Urquell and like it. I feel like I heard that recently and I like that. We should use that.
Is that a rip on Pilsner Urquell or is that a rip on the drinker?
No, I think it's a compliment. It's like the opposite, but in the same vein. Like you look like. I
see.
But what I wanted to go to talking about throwbacks was I think I was a little spoiled when I was younger, growing up around Southern Tier, like being such like, especially when they were like a younger brewery and, they were in their old building, which kind of felt like you're in someone's garage, which is like, it's a big warehouse. And like one of the earliest things I really got into is like IPAs, but it felt like a personal achievement, like early on when I didn't really understand beer outside of Budweiser to like something so aggressive. I was just like, it was like a weird badge of honor for me,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember the first time, I think we've talked about this before. We used to drink like Stone Ruination and Moylan's Hopsicle and that sort of stuff. And just, aggressive level of IBUs, just like astringently bitter. Like literally your mouth would almost feel raw after like drinking a couple of them just because it was so aggressively bitter and so tannic and just,
I also really loved, this came up recently because it was St. Patrick's Day, but I loved Southern Tier's porter too. But when they were doing raspberry wheat, they would always like offer like, oh, you want to do a raspberry porter? And it was delicious, guys. I still think about that.
I was actually, interesting enough, talking porters and Steve's drinking little Black Butte, which is one of my favorite, throwback porters as well. The one that I was actually going to look for, to do for the episode was I was going to try to find. I saw Trogs had made Dead Reckoning again, and that was like one of my go-tos back in the day. Like I was big. I still love a good porter, but Black Butte eventually, once it made its way out, out west, or out to Western Pennsylvania, out east, and Edmund Fitzgerald, like that. Those three were like, man, drank a fuckload of those beers back in the day. We actually used to take kegs because I went to school in Ohio, so we were close proximity to Cleveland. We used to actually put kegs on ice in the back of the van and drive kegs of Edmund Fitzgerald and Conway's Irish Red Ale down to the Outer Banks for spring break. Like we used to drive kegs of them down there because I
had an Eddie Fitz not too long ago. It might have been on the show even, but I don't remember. But classic beers.
Hey, throwback beers, guys. Remember?
Whatever happened to New Holland?
New Holland?
I hardly see them.
Yeah, they rebranded a couple of years ago. I would say like even during COVID or towards the end of COVID, they rebranded completely, and they had leaned really, really heavy into just mostly the
Dragon's Milk variations.
The variants. Yeah. It was just all the variants, and you hardly saw any of the other beers. Like, I feel like, the IPAs like went away a long time ago, pretty much, like Mad Hatter and stuff. Like you just never saw that anymore. And they rebranded, and I mean, and they looked nice, but it just, to me, reeked of, we hired an agency that doesn't know anything about beer to rebrand it.
Yeah. I remember.
I don't think I really got super into them, but like kind of because they're close to what Jolly Pumpkin too. But I feel like I got more into that because when Jolly Pumpkin, and this is like, I think closer to when I moved down here. So I was probably already drinking for like 4 or 5 years. And they were like, that's also when like it was really cool to like, or have Belgian beers on your draft list. And when people actually allowed those to be acceptable styles. And that was always really fun and delicious too.
I remember the first time I ever went to New Holland, we were doing a little brewery tour around Michigan, just like me, my cousin, and our friend from college, and we rolled in super hungover one morning to Holland, Michigan, which is of course where New Holland Brewing is, which is like right on the lake. And it's like, seriously, if you go just west to Grand Rapids, just to the lake, that's like New Holland's like pretty like, or Holland, Michigan is like the first, like when I used to take the ferry over from Milwaukee across Lake Michigan to Michigan, and you pretty much get off the ferry in Holland, Michigan, or right nearby. And Holland, Michigan is so, at least back in the day, was so like nice and like Pleasantville-y that it almost was creepy. And I remember us rolling in like just pathetically hungover, and me like waking up in the back of the car with like sunglasses on, all sweaty, and just sitting up. And I felt like I woke up in the movie like Pleasantville, because there was just all these like people walking down the street, just I remember getting out, and there was like a high school track team ran by. They were all like, "How you doing? Hello, good to meet you." Blah blah blah, running by, and then there were all the cars parked on the street were like literally windows down, like parked on the street. I'm just like, where am I and what the fuck is going on? Like these three just hammered, hungover degens roll into town, and I just felt like I felt like that guy who gets his head squished pretty early on in Halloween 3. Like the guy who's like, "Why don't you give me a little sip of that and I'll tell you about it?" I just felt like that stereotypical. Oh, man. Anywho, guys, them's the beers. But we got one other thing we got to talk about here. If you'll recall, we put out for the social medias a call to action for our social media friends and listeners. For those of you who are new to the show, we do a Showdown episode every first Monday of the month. We have a whole bunch of topics that we have on a big ass spinning wheel. We spin it 3 times. We get 3 potential Showdown episode topics. And then our social media friends and listeners pick one of those for our monthly Showdown. Once we know what that topic is, we each pick a movie associated with that topic. Then we talk about it and argue about it. And then we vote. And then, somebody gets smashed with a steel chair. Somebody gets suplexed onto razor blades. And ultimately, somebody takes home the fucking championship belt for the month. In March, guys, your boy brought it home once again. The belt is back with its rightful owner.
Gross.
But that could change next month. Listen, I'm a realist. I understand that could change next month. Probably won't, but it could. And our options for next month, one of which was, how are we saying it?
Horser,
which is to say horse horror, which was a topic specifically, I think, put out there just to give Meg an unfair advantage, because we know that she's horse girl at heart.
Listeners love me,
Horses rule everything around us. The second one was Robot Rampage, or what Steve has been referring to today as robots, which I do appreciate referring to them as robots.
Is it the ROBUT or IT? Robots or robots?
Well, if you say it in kind of a British accent, I believe it's more like robot.
I like the U though, and I want to add a T, and then this could just be a topic about robots with nice butts.
Ooh, yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of
that's a different episode.
Yeah, that's one thing. Listen, I love me a robot, but most of the time they're lacking in the dump truck.
They don't
category,
have cake.
You know what I mean? No, they usually don't got them cakeys.
But the unique thing is that the opportunity is there, and what we're saying is that someone make a robot with a nice badonk. Let's go.
Saying is what they call in the marketing world. That's white space, guys. That's white space we need to operate in. And then the last one, of course, was the one that we like the topic, but definitely was never going to get picked, which is Herschel Gordon Lewis films. Guys, Herschel Gordon Lewis didn't win. We knew it wasn't going to happen. But it came down to robots and horses.
Oh my gosh. Was it close?
It kind of wasn't. Robots won.
Oh.
Guys, so you're off the hook, Meg, with the horse horror, because that was going to be high expectations for you coming in as the resident horse expert.
I just don't know if I would have been able to handle that sort of pressure.
Yeah. So I think in this instance, we're going to talk about, so the April Showdown episode is going to be Robot Rampage. So we're talking about some movies. So are there any particular guardrails that we need to put around Robot Rampage, guys? I mean, I personally, none come to mind for me right off the bat, but
is there any sort of I think the crossovers, because I feel like the last episode we talked about, that one could have a lot of because did we bring up kaiju films and stuff like that? Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of kaiju opportunity there.
I don't know if we want to limit that, because I feel like eventually we would definitely do a kaiju episode, but I'm just tossing it out there with any, I don't know.
I think the one thing that I would maybe say would be something that I would be willing to entertain is if I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. What do you think?
Is AI also robots? Can we agree on that, or no? Well,
that's the thing. Is it just purely technology? Is it full on robots? And then my other thing I was just about to say, which I kind of second guessed myself, is, are we willing to go into a little bit more of a sci-fi type of space here and not go pure horror?
Yeah. Well, so I think the one guardrail I'll put up is no Terminator.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, we already said no Cyborg, so that takes RoboCop off the table.
Oh, okay.
But no Terminator, because that is for sure a robot, and the first movie is definitely a horror movie as well as a sci-fi film.
Can I ask? I mean, I have no objection. What is your feelings on not including Terminator?
It's just too good of a film.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
Got
it
it.
would be kind of like, if we did shark movies, obviously,
You're trying to not,
Jaws
like-
is going to win kind of thing.
yeah. You're trying to not have me pull a Meg. I see.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
we do have to put in guardrails to prevent Meg from doing Meg stuff.
yeah.
We might even need to refer to them henceforth as Meg rails.
Yeah. Meg rails. Hey, you just got to put up the Meg rails when you go bowling like that.
Yeah. Because it's like Meg's going to show up to the bowling alley with a bazooka and just blast the pins.
Well, no, she's going to show up with an old school barbell.
Sorry, I just know how to play the game. You guys can be haters all you
Dirtiest player in the
want.
game, baby. Dirtiest player in the game. So no cyborgs. I like that. So
Yeah.
it can't be basically a human that got roboted up a little bit.
Right. So
Yeah.
so that's automatic, no RoboCop. But if you come across a film, you can take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Terminator because it's too good of a film, and then also the subsequent sequels are not horror enough
Right.
to warrant. So like, don't try to sneak in like Dark Fate or Genesis or any shit like that.
Yeah, not that those would necessarily win,
Yeah.
but two is I would say it does go away from a dang old horror movie question on this, and not that I would necessarily pick this, but just so we can further hash out where the Meg rails exist. It all is a predator is a cyborg, really, right? He's an alien cyborg, kind of, because he
I would
has
say alien,
mechanical
or-
parts. To
No,
him. Or
he's
I
just
guess
an
it's more
alien.
equipment. It's more
Yeah.
equipment
Yeah.
than actual mechanical parts.
Yeah.
But he does have like mechanical. I don't know. I guess I guess I'm probably
He has
not.
tools.
He has tools, but
Yeah.
some of them are
But he's-
have become part of him.
Yeah, but not really.
Yeah, I think it's like
No.
a mask.
No.
That was like a mask on top. You
It's
know,
like a
like that
mask,
could,
but
it
then
could
when I
come,
see
come
somebody with
off.
his view, I guess you're looking through. I just
Yeah.
always imagine like him having like some sort of ocular implants or something like that.
No,
in any case-
because when he loses the mask, his vision changes.
His vision gets all fucked up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That is a franchise that I enjoy, but haven't probably revisited.
I've
as many
only seen
times.
the first one, and I only saw it like maybe a year and a half ago.
Really?
But I liked it. I liked that one a lot, actually.
I
the
love
first
that
one.
movie. It was one of those ones where I like had a roommate in college that watched it constantly, so I kind of just like, not again, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though I know it's a great movie, but yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, I think let's not overcomplicate it. There, no Terminator, no cyborgs.
Yeah. Yeah, no
Fair enough.
cyborgs. I will say AI would be okay though,
Probably
because
yeah. Yep, yep.
AI is just like if a robot is just something that's meant to replace humans
Mhm.
in a way, because like you have a robot in a factory, it's replacing a human job.
Yeah.
So like AI is just replacing humans in a certain way.
They're just their decision making process.
Yeah.
No, I think we're in a good spot. The other one that I was going to say was, is there any distinction on whether we need to go like the robots, because it's called Robot Rampage? Does the robot need to be the villain, or could we have potentially a protagonist robot?
I feel like we've seen those stories. Like I feel like it feels like a familiar story to like a robot's not necessarily the bad guy, but it'll be like defending something and come off like it's like made out to be.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the bad character.
I would say though, like usually if the robot is a protagonist, when is also they're not a robot villain at the same time? If you can think of an example of that.
I mean, maybe like Forbidden Planet or something, like where you have Robbie the robot.
Fair enough.
But he's also not the main character, but he is undoubtedly the most iconic part of the movie.
Yeah.
When people think of Forbidden Planet, they think like Robbie the robot.
Yeah. I think,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. You know what? Well, then
And he is kind of a bad guy, but the real bad guy are like killer moon creatures, you
Yeah.
know? Or not moon creatures, but yeah, space creatures.
yeah, I think what this comes down to then would be subjective judgment.
Yeah.
Because then if you like, okay, your film has a robot in it, but if it never rampages, you're going to get docked points.
Okay, fair enough. Now we're going to get into semantics on what
Oh,
constitutes
God.
a rampage. like in my
I'm gonna
mind, in
rampage
order
on
for it
that
to
episode.
be a real rampage, you'd have to climb a building and punch it. That's my definition of a rampage. And the
Brian's
Rock needs to. Yeah,
midway.
I'm midway school of thought when it comes to rampaging. All right, I think we got enough to go around. So, robot rampage, guys. If you got any suggestions for us,
Send them to me.
Don't send them to Meg. Send them to the official Halloween is Forever Instagram page. That's your trusted source.
Where you can also
you send them
find
to
my
anyone
handle in our
else-
description.
I can't guarantee that. I can't vouch for that. So it's your identity that's at risk. So check
Also,
us out.
save your thumbs and don't just send Chopping Mall. We know Chopping Mall.
I don't know Chopping Mall.
I'm
Is it
going to
good?
pick Chopping Mall. Yes, that's clearly my pick. No, I love Chopping Mall so much, and Chopping Mall would be kind of a kind of like what I did last time, and then I won, which is I picked Motel Hell for Hungy for Horror, thinking there's no way I'm going to win, and then I did. So maybe I will pick Chopping Mall because I fucking love Chopping Mall so much. Chopping Mall is one of my all-time like comfort movie watches. Like I have seen Chopping Mall an alarming amount of times. If you haven't seen Chopping Mall, just do yourself a damn favor. It's so good. It's got Barbara Crampton in it. She's a freaking babe. It's got killer robots. It's called Chopping Mall. There's literally no chopping. It's fucking awesome.
Hey, Meg, I got one for you.
Sick. Yeah.
I got one for you, Meg. It's called Runaway. Starring Tom Selleck and Gene
I don't
Simmons.
like your smile right now.
Tom Selleck and Gene Simmons.
The Gene Simmons.
What is this called again? I'm just going to look it
Runaway.
Runaway.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know
It's
if
a
you're
pile of
actually
poop.
giving me. Oh, okay.
Shut up. What's the matter with you?
She can tell from your face. You
I know, I
literally
was
have
like-
like a fucking Cheshire cat smile as you're saying
I'm
it.
glad also that the top searches when I typed in Runaway were actually Runaway Train by Soul Asylum, which sounds like it probably is better than that movie.
It's all right, so.
Oh yes, it is. It is.
Jesus.
Tom Selleck fucks though. That much is clear. But God, I hate Gene Simmons. Just as a human, just across the board, he fucking sucks. Hate Kiss. Love Kiss visuals. Can't stand Kiss as a band. Sorry. In any
songs
case,
yet?
we're not talking about why Kiss sucks. So if you want to give us some suggestions, or if you got like, hey, this would be cool, you should check this out, go over to the old social medias at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook, and all that shit. Follow us and do all that sort of stuff on the old social medias. You know how it works. All right. Let's get into some of these here questions, guys. We've got some fun listener submitted questions. And I'll just kind of go through them here. I think for those that post them on public forums and comments and stuff like that, I'll throw their names out there. And then people that I know, I guess specifically, I might throw their names out there. But I guess otherwise, I don't think there's anybody else that submitted questions that would have an issue with us telling them who you are and your at handles and whatnot on the social medias. But let's start off here with one that I think, you know what? Let's start off on a little easier one. Let's ease into the questions here. I've got one from Steve or Hey Now, I believe is his handle. On I think this one was from Instagram. What's your go-to horror movie recommendation? The one you tell friends they must see ASAP. So this is one that, maybe it's not the greatest movie in the world, but this is the one you find yourself recommending most often, maybe even as of late. So it doesn't necessarily be in your entire life.
I think I have one. I'm sure you guys probably have different ones or like better ones, but I feel like Psycho Gorman became like one where I'm like, this is such a fucking fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I like when people are, I always ask people if they've seen it.
Yeah, I have definitely recommended that one. And I'll throw in another one. Same director, The Void.
Damn.
I suggest, was that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suggest The Void to people all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of under
So
the radar still,
Right.
weirdly
Yeah.
enough. And I don't know why. What's the director? Steven
Kostansky. And then
Kostansky, yeah.
I think technically in with The Void, it was Kostansky and Gillespie.
Yeah. Fuck, I love that
Because he also
movie.
then, I mean, we could tie into him because I think maybe just like finding I like his work, and we talked to him before, is like the Cheddar Goblin from Mandy,
Mhm.
like also
Well,
solid.
because
if you
that's like
haven't
a
seen
pop
Mandy.
culture reference. It's become
Yeah.
kind of a pop culture reference, and people don't necessarily know what it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll throw that one out there quite often. I would say one that I've really in the last couple of years suggested a ton for people is because I think I've, for better or for worse, developed a reputation of someone to come to for really obscure, terrible horror movies that are just like fucking dumb but fun. And listen, you guys know me. I like to smoke the drugs. I smoke that wacky tobacco and watch fucking weird movies. That's one of my favorite things to do in the world. And I discovered The Boxer's Omen a couple years ago and have suggested it to a million people because it's so dumb and so awesome. So that's one that comes to mind for me. And then probably the other one I do a lot, just more as like this movie's so fucking weird, and if you're gonna get super high and watch a movie, this is a fun one too, is The Greasy Strangler.
Oh god, yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one. Greasy Strangler.
The Greasy Strangler. Go up and check that sumbitch out. That's gonna be a fun one for you.
That one is, man, I don't consider it horror per se.
No, it's really not, although there's
horrific imagery to it.
It's more off-putting than horror.
And it's upsetting.
No,
Ronnie
but it is
runs
about
a disco walking tour.
Hell
Wow,
yeah.
that alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's very much worth a watch.
It's so much in the vein of like the Quentin Dupieux movies of like Wrong and Rubber.
Yes, it reminds me of
but it wasn't directed by him. So
no, it reminds me of that. But if like maybe like Tim and Eric directed it or something, you know what I mean? Like it's almost that level of bizarreness. That's a really fun one. What else? You guys have any other ones that come to mind? Steve, you got to have some good ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did have Void because I used to ride that movie's dick hard for a long time because like it falls right into kind of the perfect category of like a lesser seen film, but it's also modern as well. So like it's easy for people to get into. Like I'm not suggesting weird shit from the 70s. So like everything else is just kind of classics that a lot of people should see, of like obviously Return of the Living Dead. You throw that one out all the time. I'm trying to think of something that's just like off the wall that like I tend to reserve my off the wall stuff for not strangers.
Sure.
You know, like I have to know you a little
know
better.
that they're looking for that, or else they're gonna be like, that insane person told me to watch this terrifying thing. I actually we just did it on this was my quote unquote punishment episode. I have definitely tried to turn as many people on in the last however many years since I discovered it. I've turned so many people on to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Although not a movie, but a web series.
Right.
This is not a horror movie, but I found myself suggesting this a lot recently because I've been watching a lot of 70s like crime movies and like cop movies and stuff like that. And I just recently rewatched probably a couple of months now, probably maybe within the last year. And then I just watched it again last week. And I fucking love this movie. It's not horror, but it definitely has some horrific, very tense elements. Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 is and the original one, the
right. Yeah, the original
one. Oh my God, is that movie so fucking awesome? It's on Tubi, which makes it even better. I mean, it's got literally the cast. Okay, so if you're into like old 70s character actors, buckle the fuck up because you're about to listen. Walter Matthau, first of all, you cannot fucking go wrong with Walter Matthau. He's tremendous in this.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw, one of the greatest fucking most underrated actors of all time, in my opinion. For those of you who don't probably recognize his name, but aren't putting a picture to it or putting a face to it, he's Quint from Jaws. But he plays Mr. Blue in this one. It's this is a movie where like you see it and then you realize how much Quentin Tarantino was like influenced by this movie and so many of his films. Martin Balsam, you would recognize him fucking immediately. He's fantastic. Hector Elizondo, like it just has it's the who's who of 70s awesome character actors. Jerry Stiller's in it. Lee Wallace, which you might not recognize his name right away, but you would recognize his face immediately. Dick O'Neill, Doris Roberts as well. Speaking of Jerry Stiller, if you know Jerry Stiller is, you probably know who Doris Roberts is. It's a fucking blast of a movie. So it's not horror though, so it doesn't really pertain, but you really need to go watch it.
It's a good thing to kind of flashback go and just like improve your media literacy. You know, I'm the same way with The Conversation. Which, like, everybody knows Godfather, Godfather 2, Apocalypse Now.
Sure.
And because Coppola put out those bangers, everybody forgets about how good The Conversation is. But The Conversation with Gene Hackman is, like, an amazing film.
And Gene Hackman in general. Like, he's one of those guys, I don't even really care who directs it. If Gene Hackman's in it, I'm gonna definitely like it.
Yeah,
because it's fucking Gene Hackman. He's incredible. But talk about a cast in that movie. Jesus Christ.
Do
Harrison Ford. Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Do a triple feature of Conversation, French Connection, and Taken of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
French Connection's great. Maybe throw a Get Carter in there as well.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good. Terry Garr as well, and she's so underrated. She's freaking fantastic. If you don't know who Terry Garr is, like you'd recognize her immediately. She's been in so many good things of that era. Most notably, I think horror movie fans, even though it's a comedy horror, she plays the kind of, I don't even remember her name, but the kind of maiden love interest in Young Frankenstein. So fucking good. So
to jump back to more horror-esque of things I usually recommend, a lot of the time I found myself, especially like years back, I found myself recommending a lot of foreign horror.
And that's a good go-to because it's fair to assume a lot of people hadn't seen it. Yeah.
So like obviously in the mid to late 2000s, I was recommending a lot of Takashi Miike. So if you haven't seen his stuff, go back to like Audition, Ichi the Killer. There's a lot of good stuff.
Ichi the Killer those are two movies that are like, I mean, Takashi Miike he's like 10, he's like, I was going to say 5, but then I was like, that's not even enough. He's like 10 directors in one.
Yeah.
Like his style is that he can do anything. He's like a fucking chameleon. Like he has so many amazing movies that feel like they are totally different directors.
Yeah.
Like that's a great example. Ichi the Killer and Audition couldn't feel more different, but are both fucking brilliant movies.
And then just like,
and so brutal.
Oh yeah, they're so brutal. And then like if you look at his, just like he has like 112 directing credits because he just does not stop working. So yeah, like go back to those two original ones. I would say those two original ones are the ones that broke him. And then if you want to look at like more modern stuff that isn't quite horror though, Blade of the Immortal, which was like,
I don't know that one.
It's an anime and a manga adaptation. Okay. It rules pretty hard though. And then obviously 13 Assassins is probably his masterwork.
I would probably, if somebody knows him, that's who you might know him for, I
feel like we've talked about that film before. That sounds familiar.
Possible. Yeah. It's possible because I love that film. And it has one of those moments that like no matter how many times you see it happen, but when they unroll the scroll that says Total Massacre, like your fucking blood starts pumping and you just like everybody gets a boner.
It's just
boner for you. Boner for you.
Everyone gets a boner.
Everyone gets a boner. So I'm trying to think. Another good foreign horror though is Baskin. I don't know if you guys have seen this one.
Baskin, man, it sounds familiar.
It's a Turkish horror movie. and I don't want to give too much away about what it's about. It's just
I'm
better to
looking it
just
up
kind of
right
go
now.
into it.
I don't think I've seen this. This doesn't look familiar to
2015
me.
time?
Yeah.
Or is it older? Okay.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah.
No, I don't know this movie, but I'm going to add it to my list right now.
Yeah.
Watch on
It's
Tubi
on
for
Tubi.
free.
It's on the Tubi.
Fire.
That might be a tonight movie.
Yeah, it's a real good movie,
Ooh,
and it
surrealist too.
it goes in a lot of places that you're not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it also gets pretty fucking brutal. Like I would say it's approaching Martyrs level
Mm-hmm.
without like the complete emotional destruction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I just thought of a couple more while you were talking too that I would throw out there, which we did. One of them we did an episode on, or I think I picked it for a Showdown maybe, is One Cut of the Dead.
Mhm.
Love that movie. Weirdly enough, looks on the surface to be a 100% a horror movie. Kinda is not 100% a horror movie, but it's an awesome movie with a lot of horror themes, and it's about making a horror movie. But anyway, and then again, similar. It's more of an action psychological thriller with horror elements. Is Old Boy.
Yeah.
That's one I find myself suggesting to people a lot because it's a fucking just absolute crusher.
I think
movie.
I don't suggest Old Boy as much just because I think it became so well known. Either
people who don't know anything about foreign horror, like that's one of the ones I think are like easily accessible almost. You know?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be a little more accessible, but I think the one I recommend more often is I Saw the Devil.
Oh yeah, yep. That one has become pretty well known though. I feel like.
Yeah, but it didn't get a Spike Lee remake, so.
Not yet.
Not
yet. It's only
I think I've
time.
kept reading that people are trying to remake it, but
I could see that.
yeah.
All right, let's get on. Let's get on to another one of these some bitchin' questions from our social media friends. How about this? Let's go down the list. Let me just kind of randomize some of these here. Here is one. Oh, this is a good one. This is from E&T Braden on Instagram, which I think he submitted questions last time we did one of these too. He always has really good questions. You must each choose a horror protagonist with whom to swap places for the span of a movie. Who swaps with who, and why do you think you'd survive? Presuming you want to live. Death is always an option, to be honest. But yeah, so basically, if you had to swap with a horror protagonist, and he didn't say a franchise, but a particular movie, who would it be, and why do you think you would survive, or perhaps I guess not survive? So that one requires a little bit of thought, and obviously I got to read the question ahead of time, so I'll throw mine out there and give you guys a second to think. And the first one I came up with, so two of them. One of them was, I immediately, for some reason, my brain immediately went to Ash from one of the Evil Dead movies, namely Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, which is less horror, more like slapstick horror comedy. But even though I was like, not that much horrible things happen to him, but then I was like, oh no, he does. He cuts his hand off. A bunch of bad shit happens to him, but he always seems like he's kind of having fun. You know what I mean?
There you go.
He does find ways to have fun in between the terrible parts.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know.
But then you have to watch all your friends die, your girlfriend die, and all that stuff. Like, that's not cool.
I mean, it's not like that.
It's not great.
Yeah, it's not like Martyr. Again, it's not Martyrs, but it's not great.
Yeah.
But he always seems to like get his revenge and have get to throw some cool, like, if I'm a character in a movie, all I really want is a couple of cool one-liners too. So that's why I immediately thought of Ash. But then I also, which if I had to guess, probably the second one, because he feels like he has a little bit more to I don't know.
He has more agency in fights.
Yes, he has more agency. First one, he's just literally flopping and screaming the entire movie, which he is in the second one. But yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It feels like he has a little bit more agency. And then the other one I thought of, and this is maybe a little bit more morbid, is Don Jones as Ben in the original 1968 Night of the Living Dead, because he's the dude. You know, he's kind of the hero. He's the heroic guy, and he, kind of, he survives throughout the night and all that stuff. And then his ultimate demise, spoiler alert for a movie that's fucking 60, 70 years old, but he dies at the end, but very quick and painlessly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in a zombie apocalypse, getting shot in the head from a distance and not seeing it coming is essentially the equivalent of like peacefully dying in your sleep. So I was like, if I'm going to die in a horror movie, I'd rather just be like, oh, hell yeah, I made it. That was great. And then lights out.
Yeah.
Bullet to the head.
I mean,
like, yeah.
And going back to that movie, like, you know, they're all, well, it wasn't at the end of that movie, but it was in Dawn of the Dead. They're all the hunters and everything. They're all drinking Iron City.
Oh, yeah.
On the pool top. So it's like you're already at risk from getting shot in the head from somebody drinking Iron City. So it's not,
well, and also you're just, you're also just a random black guy from out of town in rural Western Pennsylvania in 1968.
Yeah.
So like, even if there weren't zombies, you were not necessarily in a cool spot.
Yeah. You were in Butler County, and that's not great.
Yeah, you were in Butler County in 1968, and there's a bunch of drunk guys running around with guns, which is just normal Butler County now. But anyway,
my scenario, I was the one with Iron City shooting Brian. Just had to make that clear.
If we remade it, Meg would be the what is he? He's not the sheriff. He is the sheriff who's running around with the big dip in. He's like, yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up. But it's Meg chugging Iron Cities with a rifle over her shoulder.
Yeah, that sounds like a great personification.
And somehow with that same mustache too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Coming in hustler. Mm-hmm. Steve, what do you got? I have a couple ideas.
I got a couple as well. But one that seemed pretty obvious to me was just Dale from Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Yeah, I guess.
That movie is so fun.
You know, I don't care about entitled city kids dying. That's not going to bug me. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have to change too much about myself because I still get to just be a chubby guy with a beard doing white trash shit. You know, I think I'm just taller than Tyler Labine. That's all. And then
you also get the hot chick too, right?
Yeah, and then he gets the hot chick at the end, which leads me to some of my other picks of. I want to be whoever's Aubrey Plaza's boyfriend in the new Child's Play movie, because then that means I get to bang Aubrey Plaza.
This is just like the super specific thought process that Steve had.
This has nothing to do with survival. It has everything to do with how Steve gets laid.
Oh, yeah. Like, look.
But specifically Aubrey Plaza related.
Yes, specifically, because, look, if I get to have sex with Aubrey Plaza, that means I've peaked. And then it's just okay that I get killed by Chucky.
You literally get drawn and quartered after that?
Yeah.
Cool. No worries.
It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
I've peaked. I've hit my level.
Solid.
It's good logic. Sound logic.
Yeah. But, you know, Tucker and Dale, Dale actually gets to survive. So you can go with that one first. Yeah. The other answer is Dr. Chalice from Halloween 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because he gets to bang. And then, who cares about kids? I don't care about kids. So.
You also just slam a bunch of highlights and
I get to smoke and drink and bang, and then kids die, and that's not like a big deal to me.
It's not even gonna ruin my whole day.
Yeah, doesn't register.
If 1/3 of the kids in the world die, it's like not that big of a deal for me.
Doesn't register.
That's fucking great.
All right.
So I had a couple. I mean, I kind of had one where like someone does die, but I'll go with that one just first to get it out of the way, and then I'll probably say who I'd actually go with. I probably go with Ellen Ripley from Alien because she's just an insane badass and she gets to like kick ass against aliens.
Terrifying though.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh man, that movie. That's one of those movies where if you put yourself in the protagonist's shoes, like you're just like Jesus Christ.
Oh man,
it's
I
highly stressful.
I'd thrive, and I'd like get shit done. It'd be great.
No, you would freeze. You'd freeze like the rest of us.
Closet and hide.
She died anyway, so she's like. But I like that character. Like that's insane. Like I see that as like, top like badassery.
Yes, badassery is high on the list there. Yeah.
I'd probably it's a movie we talked about a lot last year was Midsummer. I think I'd go with Danny.
Just because you want to do drugs.
I want to do drugs. I would get mushrooms, which was actually on my list of why, but also sweet revenge against pieces of shit, you know?
Yeah.
And she gets to live in Scandinavia.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually checks out. That checks out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Mushrooms, Scandinavia,
joining a cult,
murdering shitty boyfriends. Like those are all cults. Being in a cult.
Check. Let's go.
Yeah, I actually feel stupid that I didn't see that coming out.
Getting blasted on Aquavit.
Yeah.
Doing a silly dance.
Yeah, man, you get to wear a really beautiful flower dress, get carried around, man. That's the fucking dream.
Hanging out with a kid who's been inbred way too much.
Having inbred friends. This is all like that. Yeah.
Are you calling my friends inbred
what?
now?
No, we're just saying you would prefer it if you could.
You guys are kind of my friends, so you know, like
you'd choose it if you could. That's all.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you hang out with inbred people. You just choose it.
It's just like it's your preference.
If it's on the table, you're picking it.
You love incest, like we've established this. Let's not hash this all out. Like make a big deal about it.
Yeah,
it's well documented on literal recordings that we've put out into the world for years now.
Incest is terrifying too, which makes said I will say it again and again. It comes up a lot because it's terrifying to me.
Yeah, it's not cool. But
doesn't
anyway,
it's not cool. No, it's not
cool.
Brian. It's really not.
Well, I have another question that's gonna go bleed right into that one. It feels appropriate to ask next. This is from Candy Apples and Razor Blades on Instagram. That's candy _ just put an underscore under each one of those words. But a great question here. Battle of the Atkins, Halloween 3 versus Night of the Creeps. What's your go-to? So if you have to watch one of those movies right now, boom, which one are you watching? That's the question mark.
Yeah, I can go real quick on that.
Yeah.
One, obviously, I already talked about how I would be Dr. Don Chalice. But we talked about Night of the Creeps. I didn't really love it that much. And
yeah, I remember you weren't super keen on Night of the Creeps.
It just, it needs more Atkins to be better, but also Atkins is also a loser in that film.
Well, he's just like a hard-boiled, noir-y type of detective.
He is a loser. But he also is like he's a small-town loser playing.
Just because he brings Rusty back to his house and is like, "Drink up, Johnny," and talks about how he murdered a guy.
I tried to put my head in the oven. Yeah. Look. I mean, I guess if I was...
You don't like sad sack Atkins. You like big dick Atkins.
Yeah, I like big dick Atkins.
He's always big dick Atkins. Don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean.
I'm just saying, if we're doing actual Atkins versus Atkins, Night of the Creeps Atkins is faking being cool and then dies, kills himself.
Yeah.
Then Halloween 3 Atkins, it's much more natural of like, again, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm boning, and I'm solving mysteries. And then, hey, I don't accomplish that, but at least I'm still alive to smoke and drink and bone.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Dr. John Trapper or whatever it is.
Dr. John Chalice.
Chalice, yeah. Dr. John versus I think his name's Ray. I don't remember his last name is, but in Night of the Creeps, Atkins versus I mean, my answer is probably the same for both. Like, it may be predictable, but I love Halloween 3. I love Night of the Creeps too. And I would go as far as, I don't think it's even speaking out of turn to say Tom Atkins has better lines in Night of the Creeps. Obviously he has the, hey girls, got good news and bad news. Good news is your dates are here. Bad news, they're dead. Like, it's a fucking great line, right? And he has so many good one-liners, and it's a much more cartoonish character. It's funny to say that a movie is a much more cartoonish character than a character in Halloween 3. But Halloween 3 is definitely a more cohesive, better movie. But yeah, I if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, you really didn't like Rusty's performance. And I don't even know the actor's name. I'm just always call him Rusty because he was Rusty in European Vacation.
Yeah. I don't think I liked anybody except for Atkins. And also, it's Dr. Dan Chalice. I'm going to get crucified if I don't say it.
Oh, Dan Chalice. Sorry.
I'm gonna get crucified if I don't say it right. But yeah, no, I didn't like anybody in Night of the Creeps. They're all like wooden and goofy and bad, and then like you have to wait for these bright moments of Atkins, which like it's great and it carries it. But otherwise it's just like, I can't stand listening to these fucking people.
But you remember like the party scene and stuff in Night of the Creeps? It's like the college party. It's fun. No, I'm not arguing with you. Halloween 3 is definitely the superior movie, but Night of the Creeps is a little underappreciated. I feel like people know it for just like some of the quotable lines, but I'm agreeing with you. I'm going Halloween 3.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like you're saying, like the lines survive a lot better. Thrill Me survives a lot better, and that
he leans into that. He leans into that one. If I recall, he says that line about 5 fucking times. He tries to make it a catchphrase, and it doesn't stick that well. But yeah, people's eyes exploding into bugs and worms and shit. I mean, come on, you can't beat that. Meg, stance on those two movies, preference between the two.
I like when you brought up like Night of the Creeps, I don't think I've seen Halloween 3, so I felt like I was kind of out of that question.
Wow.
So
that is worth. That's one you got to watch immediately. And the soundtrack
may actually
fucking
like the franchise. Cool, I'm into it.
No, it has nothing to do with the rest of the franchise.
Okay.
This is the one that, of course, Michael Myers isn't even in.
Oh, gotcha.
But it has nothing to do with the rest of the franchise. It's kind of at one point became the. I'm looking at no less than about 3 pieces of Halloween 3 memorabilia like in my eye line right now. So I have a lot of affinity for this movie. So it's like
solid like film itself, even though like Michael Myers isn't in it.
People hate this. Was the original like redheaded stepchild of the franchise. People hated it for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden people were like, no, it's good, and then it got really popular, and now everyone's like, it's the best movie in the franchise except for maybe the first one. And I'm like, well, that's a bold statement, but it's still a really fun movie.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out and maybe get back to you guys on my answer if you guys follow my social media, and I'll like post about it or something, and then you can send me.
Why is Meg constantly plugging her own social media?
I don't know.
Because one is sending me well, I guess let me take that back. I've had a couple people send me suggestions personally, but they follow me and I follow them.
Yeah.
So as I'm saying, like, yeah. But I will only post my opinion on my stories. So I guess you guys got to follow me.
This has become just shameless. Terrible. All right, let's do our last of our.
I had shame in my life.
Let's throw it out here. This is going back to kind of non-horror. This is from Ian, our friend Ian on Instagram is idobo10 at idobo10 on Instagram. Brian, Meg, Steve, top 3 favorite non-horror movies. So I don't know if I could put these in order top 3, but I'll throw out 3 movies that are that are definitely in my top 5. Like I this is one that I didn't really think of ahead of time, and it's a big question. One is a no-brainer for me. It's Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I have seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure 1 bajillion times. It is perhaps my favorite movie of all time, with the exception of maybe Halloween. But a lot of my favorite movies are, as you might imagine, horror movies. So that one is a no-brainer. I would probably also put Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory up there. That's a movie that I've probably seen that more than any other movie in my life, just because I went for years as a child watching it every single day.
Really?
Yeah, every day. Even in high school, I remember my cousin Josh and I could still, and I might be able to still do it with a quick refresher. I used to be able to recite the movie, every line word for word, in order with no assistance. Like we could just go through the movie and write. That's how many times I've seen that movie. Is Ghostbusters horror? I don't know. It's horror adjacent. Yeah. Ghostbusters definitely up there.
I feel like I would probably get it past, like we kind of gave Beetlejuice. Maybe I'd put that like around there where it could be, definitely has horror elements, but it's like more goofy.
It definitely had scenes that scared me as a kid. Like when the terror dog busts through the door in the hotel.
The gargoyles for me.
Yeah.
A lot of the ones I'm thinking of are like very horror adjacent. What else makes sense that would potentially be up there? Oh, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh yeah.
That is one of I adore that movie. I've seen that one a bajillion times. I'll throw those three out there, and then you guys, let me know what you got. Maybe I'll think of another one that would make sense up there.
I have like definitely two top of mind, and a third would probably just be like a weird catch-all for like these types of movies. But like first, like even when I was younger, I loved Harold and Maude.
Oh,
like fucking such a fun movie, great soundtrack, and really awesome. My second one is like age sincere like comfort film for me is Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah, that's a great
and
one.
like also huge into Elliott Smith, so that also made it like even better for me. But like if I'm like sad, happy, whatever, like that's my movie. And I think my other one is just like I feel like I oftentimes will try to find something that's like really mindless, and I was trying to think of something that like always just made me gut busting laughing when even the first time I saw it was like Meet the Millers. And I don't know why if I was like I want to watch something super silly, but I put that in the category that I'd put in movies like Superbad, Step Brothers, where like those types of movies as a catch-all like are just really fun go-tos. Like I'll give one anecdote because I don't think I've shared it on the episode, but it is a mushroom trip story of me and my ex-boyfriend were watching we were taking mushrooms, and I think we just made a little too much. It was a very strong batch of tea and we were watching Fargo the show, and all of a sudden it was like the shrooms were coming on and I got insanely anxious. It's been the only time where I'm just like I'm kind of freaking out. I like normally I would get high and then I'd watch horror movies, but this time I was like, this isn't going to happen. I'm going to fucking freak out right now. I'm just like scared. So we like put on Superbad first Step Brothers, and then watch Superbad. And those were just like really fun movies to watch that were just like now even better memories of like
calm you down,
get
you out of a bad headspace
of like getting high as well as with fun movies. So I think those are my three.
I thought of another one that's definitely got to be up there for me. Is I've always been a big Mel Brooks fan, even since I was little, and I would have to put a Mel Brooks movie up there, and I would probably put Blazing Saddles if I had to pick one. Blazing Saddles has got to be up there for me. And then this was one that's kind of, I mean, it's not a horror movie, it's more of a thriller, but it's like horror adjacent, is Rear Window. I fucking love Rear Window. I've seen that one a million times. I don't think anybody would call that pure horror, but it's Hitchcock, and of course suspense and thrillers are horror adjacent, I would call them.
Yeah, it's a suspense thriller.
Yeah. And then this is one that's like a little broy, and I love Daniel Day-Lewis. Like I'm just a nerd for Daniel Day-Lewis, and like it's a little broy because I feel like it's not Fight Club broy, but it's a little broy. Is There Will Be Blood? I've seen There Will Be Blood
you think that's broy?
A lot of time. I feel like that's a like not broy like creatine pump and iron, but like I feel like it's one of those movies that like pseudo intellectual college guys think is cool to like. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's just my own personal opinion. But
I don't know. That might be like a personal bias. I think I kind of can see how that could be though, because they wouldn't get the fact that Daniel Day-Lewis is the villain of that film.
Yeah, they would just think he's like, it's a Tyler Durden thing, right, where they think he's just really cool. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. So they have all their capitalist econ books, and they have the big poster of There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, they're
like, I'm going to be the next JP Rockefeller, and I'll forsake my son for money. That's all right.
Yeah. You drink. I'll drink your milkshake, bro. Yeah, like it's that kind of it's that kind of thing. I think the other one is Gangs of New York. I adore that movie too, but I think there's a broy contingent amongst the fans of that movie, because of all the like badassery around religious iconography and hey, we're gonna fight for our cause and all that.
It's a real trad Cath Jo sesh.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think it can be, unfortunately, but that one's up there for me.
Yeah. So mine I have one definite movie that just always sits at the top of my list, and that's Apocalypse Now. Like, I just love that movie.
I would almost call that's one of the more, I mean, it's certainly not pure horror, but it is a horrific movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's terrible is that I've like known of that movie for probably since I was a teenager and never fucking watched it.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I mean, that's one you gotta dig in for the evening and like really get lost in that fucking movie.
That's a movie like I like probably since I was like 16 or 17, I probably watched once a year, every year at least. Mm-hmm. And then like
sounds like your comfort film.
I've had like 3. Yeah, it is. I don't know why it is a comfort film for me though, but I've had like 3 different versions of it because, you know, Coppola put out however many different director's cuts. I actually don't like the newest cut he put out. I prefer the longest Redux cut. That's like 3 hours plus. Like, I prefer that one because, like, if I'm going to hunker down into that film, then I'm just going to watch the entire thing. And I think it adds, because you get a lot more with the French plantation and everything. I think that adds a lot more to context of the time, as well as just like attitudes outside of, you know, what like American attitudes were. Because like the French have their own, and like you can see, the French are kind of also villains in all this, as well as the way they, you know, take advantage of Cambodia. So yeah. Talk about a dark fucking movie. Fucking movie. Love that movie. Don't love the book as much. The Heart of Darkness. It's a little bit of a hard read, and you know it just kind of comes out really westernized. It's one of those things where I think Coppola put more of a kind of a softer touch in a way in like understanding the way we're terrible. Whereas like Heart of Darkness is just like, I don't know, stronger in the Western chauvinism and just like degrading people who aren't white. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I got to throw 2 more out there and then I'm going to shut up. I have so many.
Get it. Brian likes movies.
It was asked for 3 and Brian has thrown out 5. I've gotten 1 out.
Yeah, but Hateful Eight, I completely forgot about Westerns. And then I got sad that I forgot about Westerns, but like, yeah, comfort movies stuff. Hateful Eight, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like I could watch those movies probably every damn day.
Yeah. A lot of mine are horror, Jason, because I would have said Ghostbusters as well. RoboCop and Predator are 2 like perfectly made films. Like RoboCop is literally one of the most perfectly made films in just that it accomplishes horror, satire, like science fiction, and then just the way the story marries from beginning to end.
And revenge
and
like,
just everything.
Oh, so good.
So like, that's I'll say, I'll throw one out that people haven't, that a subject we haven't really got into is documentaries.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
There's one that's, there's one I suggest that a lot of people should go see. It's called The Act of Killing. And it's this amazingly dark film, that is about, it's where like a lot of Indonesian death squads were mass killing communists.
Okay.
And they just did it under the direction of the government. Yeah. And this was like, I think it was like in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And like he goes back to them now and he has them recreate their killings, like recreate the violence that they created in like plays and films. Just as a way to like,
oh, so you're like watching it and it just adds probably a lot of gravity to it, thinking that they are acting out something that they actually did.
Wow.
Yeah. And like
that feels so like I feel that inside, but I think I've definitely heard of this film. I don't think I'm just noting it because I definitely just need to watch it now, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough watch. And like the filmmaker does their best to not completely humanize the people who did the killings. But he like you can't help but feel a little bit drawn to them just because like the way they were like the way they took everything out on people was just under direction.
Yeah.
And so now he goes back and he makes them kind of reflect on it. And it's terribly interesting. And like they create like these like amazing little productions of like these acts of violence they took out and then like reflect on it. So yeah.
Real feel good flick.
Yeah, well, hey.
Date night flick, it goes far as to say.
But the film was produced by Werner Herzog and Errol Morris.
I was going to say, Jesus Christ, does it sound like a Werner Herzog
well, yeah,
movie?
he did.
and then I had no idea it was, but I was literally going to say, this sounds like some Werner Herzog shit.
Well, it's not by him. He just produced it.
It's produced
it was him and Errol Morris. So like
But it sounds like something Werner Herzog like jerks off.
Oh,
to.
yeah.
yeah.
But no, the filmmaker is Joshua Oppenheimer. So.
Oh, I've definitely heard that name. What else? He's famous for other movies, right?
He's done a couple other similar things. The Look of Silence is one that came out not too long ago. Is another documentary, but yeah,
okay.
Definitely suggest The Act of Killing. It's a really good look into like the darkest parts of people.
Yeah,
if you're looking for that. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
That definitely feels very horror-like.
What's your third one? It's like Good Burger or something.
His third, yeah. That was his third one, but
oh, is that your third one?
No. That was,
yeah, I was gonna say that was just number two.
That was two. No, I said my other horror adjacent ones are like RoboCop and Predator.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. No, I skipped over. I'll give you one, and it's a funny feel good, but it's not PC anymore. It didn't age well.
Yeah,
but there's a film with Jeremy Piven called The Goods, and
okay,
and I liked this film at the time because there wasn't like I think it came out in like 2008 or 9. I don't know. It was a time when Will Ferrell and like Pineapple Express were really super big, and people were constantly quoting those movies. But like nobody was quoting The Goods, so I just like that film because it was just my own.
It was your own take. It was your old school.
Yeah, it was my own set of quotes and everything. But yeah, it's called The Goods. It has Jeremy Piven in it. It has Ken Jeong as like one of his very first roles. It has like what's his name from The Office that plays Andy? Ed Helms.
Oh, Ed
Helms.
Helms.
It has Ed Helms in it. So like it has a really...
Oh, it's got David Koechner, Ving Rhames.
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn's fucking hilarious.
This was the first thing I've seen her in, and she is so fucking hilarious in this movie because her role is like they're all used car salesmen, and she is like constantly coming on to Rob Riggle in this film, and Rob Riggle is playing a 10-year-old boy in a man's body.
Okay.
He has
this is a great setup. Rob Riggle's fucking listen, as corny and mainstream. Rob Riggle's funny. He's very funny. There's no way you can get around that.
The whole cast of this film it's hilarious, and if you haven't seen it, you'll come away with like quotes and things. It's just like there's so many un-PC things in the film though. And also Jeremy Piven has been canceled. And
yeah. And for good reason. Everyone knew it was going to happen. I feel like the first time I laid eyes on Jeremy Piven, I'm like, I don't know what this means, but I'm pretty sure that guy's going to get canceled someday. Like, I think I was watching PCU.
You're watching PCU.
And I was,
we can add that to our list of like insults. It's like, you look like a guy that would get canceled.
Like, you look like a guy who it's only a matter of time before you're canceled.
Yeah.
But yeah, Catherine Hahn, Kate and I talk about it all the time. It's like, she is so underappreciated in terms of how just fucking hilarious she is. And it's just like a matter of time, I think, before she's been in some big stuff. I know she's in she was in Knives Out. Like she was in, I think probably most people would know her from like Step Brothers, which she plays a kind of minor character. But like, there's only a matter of time before she's definitely.
I would say she's
starred in a lot of things.
I would say at this point she's broken out because she was in Knives Out, and then she was in that Marvel WandaVision, and then she's getting her own show off of that.
Oh, good. She's so fucking good. She's so funny. She's like, I'm glad to hear that she's, I'm so out of touch with the Marvel stuff. But I remember she was in like Bad Moms and stuff. And I'm like, this movie's awful, but she's the only thing that's making it okay, is when she's on screen.
Well, watch this film called The Goods. Live Hard, Sell Hard. It's very similar. Like there's a lot of
oh my god, Live Hard, Sell Hard. Now that you said that, aren't they in car dealership or some shit? Okay, yes, I remember the previews for this movie now.
And like the previews, like you would never think to watch it, but I'm telling you, there's so many good bits in it that it carries the whole film.
I mean, it's got tons of funny people in it. Although Ken Jeong, like at first he was funny, and now I can't stand him because my parents watch like The Masked Singer, and I'll be over there, occasionally, and they'll be on, and I'm like, he's become insufferable. Like he's literally hosting a freaking singing show with Jenny McCarthy, and I'm just like, I want you to get hit by a bus. But he's got a lot of good people there. Craig Robinson, Tony Hale.
Nobody tells DJ Request what to play.
Kristen Shaw. Wow, there's a lot of Alan Thicke is in it. Jesus, this is like so many people in this movie.
Yeah, the movie rules.
Yeah. All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then to be Brian adding everything on.
Give me 9 more, because I got 9 more too, but I'm not going to say them. I'm suppressing my other 12 things I want to say.
I would just say the only other thing Brian didn't bring up that I didn't hear, but Meg kind of brought up, Meg said Fargo, and I just say go through the Coen brothers fucking catalog. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Raising Arizona. Yeah. Fucking Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men. They were involved in.
Nicolas Cage in general. That now that you mentioned Raising Arizona, I was like,
the Cage movies. So,
anything Nick Cage. Man.
Yeah. I haven't even got. I definitely went through a real Coen brothers and well, why am I drawing a freaking Wes? I went through a very Wes Anderson phase in college as well. So like Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Royal Tenenbaums, I was all about those flicks as well. Although I haven't watched them a ton in recent years. I forgot about
Fantastic Mr. Fox, like the kind of like, was it stop motion claymation type thing? Yeah, I saw that in the theaters long ago. It was great. Good movie.
Oh, great flick. All right, let's roll on here. This one from at Johnny Berlin 84, regular Instagram contributor. I think he's submitted questions in the past too for us. Johnny says, was Captain Bucky O'Hare a thing for you guys growing up? Which I had not thought about Captain Bucky O'Hare in a hot sec, but I do occasionally, as a grown-ass adult man who collects toys, I do see it quite often. I never really was into it, but it did feel like it was one of those, not a spin-off, but like, you had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Then you had, your biker mice from Mars and your street sharks and your things like that. Your, Power Rangers, and although that's not necessarily as much of a spinoff, and Big Bad Beetleborgs and all that shit. I felt like it was kind of in that vein. Like they had some of the like kooky characters, and Captain Bucky O'Hare felt like it could have been a spinoff of TMNT a little bit, which
I looked at the character. It looks insanely familiar, and I feel like it probably was like a passing show in my childhood, if at all. But I also don't remember much from my childhood, so I'll just blame that.
Yeah. Captain Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars was the show, which I don't think I ever watched as a kid.
Yeah, and the thing is, we had a lot more rabbit-based stuff back in the 80s and 90s. Because you had Bucky O'Hare.
You ever heard of Bugs Bunny?
Jesus.
That was bad.
That's a great impression. Strong impression.
So glad you interrupted me for that.
Me too, actually.
So yeah, you had Bucky O'Hare, and then you had the Yojimbo, Usagi Yojimbo character on TMNT.
I forgot about that.
And then you had Jazz Jackrabbit.
I literally have. I forgot he was even a rabbit. I have a figure of him somewhere.
Jazz Jackrabbit. I swear there had to have been some sort of copyright fight between Bucky O'Hare and Jazz Jackrabbit, because they're both green rabbits in space. There's no way.
Yeah, Jazz Jackrabbit, I kind of forgot existed until just this second. He was a little bit, I want to say adult oriented, but it felt like it was towards a little bit of an older audience. Although I think Bucky O'Hare was like a comic book before. So they might have given it the TMNT treatment where, like, obviously the original TMNT comic book was a lot grittier and, mature. And then they turned it into, a cartoon for younger kids. But to answer the question, it was a thing, although it was very much on the periphery for me. If given the option between a super, because didn't he have like almost like a World War I kind of flying ace type of look to him? Like he had like the flying goggles and stuff, like, that kind of thing. But yeah. You just can't stand up to a street shark.
Yeah, it was
like, what I
mean? I think Johnny Berlin is of British descent.
Yeah, I think he's British.
So if I'm looking at this character design and guessing, because also that's the thing we never think about. We never think about how Judge Dredd is actually a British comic.
Oh, I didn't even know
Judge
that.
Dredd was a British comic, but I'm thinking Bucky O'Hare was probably a British comic as well, because he looks like he's probably one of those flying aces, but also is stealing a lot from Flash Gordon at the same time.
Okay, could be. Yeah, I don't think I feel like I saw previews for the show or trailers. I don't know if it was something that I saw as a kid or something I've seen just like on YouTube in recent years, because I do frequent a lot of those spaces on the YouTubes. But yeah, it was definitely in the periphery for me, but I never really touched it too much.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Favorite 80s slasher that never got a sequel or a remake, which I thought of one immediately, which is not really a slasher necessarily, which you always hear grumblings that it's going to get a remake, it's going to get a video game, it's going to get an animated series. All this stuff is Killer Clowns. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and it never did. But as far as slashers are concerned, I've always been a big fan, not of the movie, because the movie's kind of a disaster, but the character and the gore effects, because it was Savini and stuff, is the Prowler. I kind of always was surprised that the Prowler never got a sequel. I don't know off the top of my head if it just didn't make any money. Maybe that had something to do with it, but I always felt that to be an appreciated slasher villain, at least.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe it never got a sequel, because then you got to think, does Halloween 3 count in that? Because there was never a sequel to Halloween 3, but even then, that's not really a slasher.
Not a slasher. Yeah. A one I just thought of, Madman 81.
Oh yeah.
That is one of the more underappreciated camp slashers out there, and it's not particularly well acted, but it has a couple of scenes that I don't even know if it's 100% on purpose or if they just got lucky, but there's a couple of kills in that are like pretty disturbing compared to even, your more mainstream, camp slashers. Madman has always been a movie that I really fucking love, and I don't think as far as I know, no sequels, and as far as I know, no remakes either.
I'd have to go back and rewatch that one. It's been...
There's particularly one, and I'm kind of remembering it. I know it's from that movie, so I'm not mixing it up with a different movie, but where a guy basically, it's like dragged, like he gets dragged from the ground, like he got like a noose around his neck, and he gets like dragged up into like, and he's like, hung basically. But it's just... If I recall, I might be not remembering it perfectly accurately, but there's like no like the music drops out too. So you really hear like all like struggling and shit. I'm just like, Jesus, it just is like weirdly unnecessarily brutal compared to a lot of the other movie. Yeah.
I was like, this is kind of a little bit hard. So I started like looking up, and I'm like, just trying to look at different slasher films. Obviously, we've already talked about My Bloody Valentine, but I really liked that one a lot. But one that I just saw last year for the first time, and then we may have talked about it on the show just in passing was Rocktober Blood, which was the film is unhinged, but I had a lot of fun watching
That's
it.
one of those ones where like no one in their right mind would. My Bloody Valentine did get a remake.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but
guys.
which I like actually the remake too. I'm a big fan of the original. It did get a remake, which is good.
Well, no, I thought
well.
we said no remakes. I thought we said sequels, like
both.
sequels.
Yeah, it was sequels and remakes.
Yeah, okay, got it.
But Rocktober Blood is it's so unhinged that nobody in their right mind would remake it, which makes it a good candidate for this. Yeah.
I was trying to do some research real quick. Also, so I was looking to see if they ever remade or made a sequel to Driller Killer.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't called Driller Killer though, right? It was something else. It wasn't a remake. I thought there was like a spiritual sequel or to Driller Killer.
There might be a spiritual sequel to it, but
I might be also imagining that. But
you also might just be thinking of Slumber Party Massacre 2, where he had a big drill on.
Yes, the musical one, and he has a drill on the end of the guitar. No, I'm not thinking of that.
Maybe you were.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair assessment. Yeah. But yes,
I'm just thinking I wouldn't be mad at a remake of that today. A good Driller Killer remake.
Yeah. Ooh, what about Pieces?
Yeah.
Did Pieces ever get
I don't think
it ever got any type of remake or whatever, because that is a true like cult, almost midnight movie type of thing, where it's like at the time I don't think very few people outside of a very like niche audience actually ever saw Pieces until recent years. I think now it has like quite a cult following. But
yeah, I don't think that ever got a remake as far as I know. So yeah, you can do that. You can do that one. Yeah. There's a movie it's not a slasher, but it's a movie that I always wish would get a remake. And like this is the thing is like sequels and remakes I don't care that much about, so I don't think about them too much. But like I always think about remakes as far as like a lot of the Italian horror goes, because
they weren't as sequel crazy as Americans.
Yeah, they weren't sequel crazy, and also just like the films themselves are always like terribly written. Like they don't make sense. A lot of you can just say they don't make sense. But I would love to see City of the Living Dead, also known as The Gates of Hell, get a remake. It's so visually arresting, and there's so many great visuals in it that it's just like if you preserve those and then remake the movie with those preserved visuals, it would be fantastic. And then
the movie is completely non-coherent. Like I've probably tried to watch that movie 3 or 4 times and always was like, oh, that's cool. And then I just lose interest.
But there's so many iconic moments in that. Like if you watch it and you get through it, you go, oh, that lady vomited up all those guts. And then the guy gets the fucking drill in the head. And it's just like, there's so many great things in it, but it's just like, this movie doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm pretty sure it's also connected to the Beyond as well, because like Fulci,
like that universe,
because Fulci was building this universe of like there's all these gates to hell placed all over the world, and like they're getting opened. So like one was opened in the Beyond.
What did he call his what was it called, like the Gates of Hell trilogy or something?
It might have been called that, because like City of the Living Dead was called The Gates of Hell as a movie, but then like it just also might be a Gates of Hell trilogy, I think.
Something like that. But I actually just thought of this. I can't believe I didn't think of this right off the bat. I just talked about it. Motel Hell. Like Motel Hell, I can't believe it's not got a remake. I feel like it would be like it could have certainly gotten a sequel. But I'm kind of blown away it never has gotten a remake. And then the other one, which was a very early episode of ours, is not that you could have. I mean, you could have definitely given it either or The Burning. The fact that The Burning and never got any of those is interesting as well. But who knows? You know,
I feel like that one kind of came out because we might have even talked about it when we covered that sleep or the camp slashers, was just like came out, I think, such an appropriate time, but there were other stronger versions, like talking about Sleepaway Camp, you know, that coming out at the same time. Like it was gonna be kind of like a limited period. I think those movies were gonna really take off.
I think that's that's the opportunity to make a really good remake. Is then you can make it its own thing, because we watched the remake of The Town That Dreaded Sundown,
Right.
and it made it its own thing of like it was visually interesting to look at, because that director had no business directing horror movies, but then like they made it that weird meta thing. So like you could make The Burning its own type of thing that will set it apart from, you know, Sleepaway Camp. Like you get into like, I don't know, maybe Cropsy leaves the camp and like goes murdering.
Midsummer was actually its remake.
Oh, okay. Already asked her.
Yeah, that
on the sly.
yeah, that was one where they like took a kind of mediocre movie with a good premise and then like made it into an actual good movie with the remake. Like I feel like we see those always are better received with like maybe they don't get the box office, but they are better received amongst fans, I think, because, you know, instead of taking something like, let's say, Killer Clowns, which has this huge following, and you try to remake it, it's going to be really difficult not to alienate or disappoint people. But if you take something like The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which was like based on a true story, it had that kind of creepy element, which was really popular at the time. And it had some really quirky, weird elements that kind of worked. But like most of the original movie is like a boring police procedural. And then you just, you know, give it the modern, you know, more brutal slasher treatment. It's just makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But anything out? Any other ones?
No, not really. I think slasher is a hard genre to like think about as like favorites that aren't just the obvious ones, because then like they all kind of you know, either they've all been remade, because like Terror Train has both gotten a remake and a sequel to the remake.
Oh, and they're it's god awful.
Yeah,
it's
terrible.
It's a great Tubi watch. Go check it out. It's worth a watch. It's fun. But I really like the original Terror Train, and the remake is so fucking bad. But at least they did kind of deliver on a similar vibe.
Yeah. I guess if we got to ask this question like in the first year, we could have said Terror Train.
Yeah, because it didn't exist at that point. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right, couple more really quick ones here. This is also from Johnny Berlin, 84. Any of you remember the animated Wizard of Oz series, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? I had to look this up, and I did not. This is from 1986. It's actually on Prime Video right now, and I'm looking it up, and it looks like it's anime. Like I feel like it's Japanese. I don't know, just from the art style, maybe that's my assumption. It looks fucking wild. And no, I have never seen this. Have either of you guys heard of this before?
When did it come out? Is it in the 80s?
86, yeah. It was only on one season, I think.
No.
But the names of the songs look wild too.
Was it like supposed to be kind of like a horror adjacent thing, or like a take on it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it looks just like a creepy kids.
It does look really
anime.
Creepy.
I don't know. Maybe there's a creepy component to it, but no, I don't think so. I do remember there was like I do remember an animated Wizard of Oz, which is what I'm kind of like looking for right now. I'm trying to look because I do remember there was another an animated Wizard of Oz movie that I feel like I watched back in the day, but I don't know. I never was a huge Wizard of Oz fan, to be honest with you. Like maybe when I was really little, I liked the movie, but I actually was at a Wizard of Oz themed wedding one time. My uncle, my late uncle, was, I would think safe to say a serial monogamist would be a good way of putting it. He was married 5 or 6 times in his life, and one woman he married, it was, you know, relatively short-lived, as you might imagine. They had a Wizard of Oz themed wedding, and she wore ruby slippers, and like behind the bride, you know, the bridal table, you know, where like the bridal party sits during dinner and stuff, was like a big mural of like the Emerald City. It was wild. It was wild. So like, I don't know why that just the Wizard of Oz makes me sad. Just for whatever reason, it's just like, I don't know, something depressing about it. But yeah, I don't know. Never really had. I mean, I've certainly seen the movie a bunch of times, but I definitely, have gone down the old YouTube rabbit holes of the like, creepy behind the scenes, like, oh, there's someone hanging in the background, kind of stuff with the Wizard of Oz. But that's pretty much where my relationship with that movie ends, I think.
Yeah. It never really hooked me either. Although I did have some of the other books there. Like I remember having picture books and like they were fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And like, cause like there's also the Return to Oz film that is like all over the fucking place. And just like you get into like the pumpkin headed guy and everything. Like this is all half remembered for me.
Wheels for hands and feet. I just remember people with wheels for hands that were creepy as fuck.
Yeah. This is all half remembered because it wasn't a fucking thing that stuck with me. But like, there's definitely like weirder stuff the further you go into these books of like a flying bed and all kinds of goofy shit. But I never saw this anime either. It is Japanese anime though.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a get stoned and watch that one because it's on. It looks like it's on Prime Video. But okay, one last one, less a question they're posing as a request, which I think this is valid to throw in there from our friend Brett Trunowski, BDrew83 on Instagram, said, "Can we please get an Evil Dead Showdown?" Yeah, so he's requesting an Evil Dead Showdown, which we probably, there are a couple out there that we've like held on to a little bit that have been on the wheel. Not that we've intentionally held on to, but they haven't come up on the wheel for whatever reason. I think Evil Dead Showdown, Evil Dead franchise is probably one on there, especially now that we're getting another remake. We got the 2013 version. Of course, we got the original trilogy of movies. We've got, the TV show that came out, Ash versus Evil Dead. Great. That's one remake. But somebody recently was like, "Oh, are you guys going to do a Scream 6 episode?" And I was like, I just feel like, although people seem to like the new one, I don't know. I feel like that franchise derailed a little while ago. But that's just
here's
me.
the thing: where are you guys at on this franchise? Like, where are you at on Scream? Like, have you seen the other 5?
No, I watch.
Maybe
I
like
love the first
couple.
one.
Yeah,
the second one I thought I didn't like that much, and then I think Steve picked it for something, and we went and rewatched it, and I did like it more. 3 was fine. 4 I did not like, and then I didn't even watch 5, and then I haven't seen 6 yet.
I honestly
so I literally
don't know.
have
Yeah, I don't think I saw 3 or 4. If I did, it was like in passing because they were always on like a USA type channel of sorts. And then I did go see 5, and I was like, meh, I hate it.
You mean S Cream?
Yeah, S Cream.
5 Cream.
Like Courtney Cox kind of
Oh, that's
ruined
what
it.
5 Cream, not S Cream. 5 Cream. Yeah,
S Cream is just Scream.
S Cream. I fucked up my own ripping on someone else
Thanks
saying
for
it wrong.
interrupting me, Brian.
Yeah,
feels real good.
Just botch the joke.
I'm just gonna keep
Now
anywho,
you know how it feels, Meg. Take that.
I know. I was like, this is payback because I did it to you a lot. Courtney Cox kind of ruined it for me. It was like 5 felt like a stretch. Like, oh, we're just like gonna recycle like storylines and like stuff, and I hated that. But other people, I did hear good things about 6. I don't know. I mean, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah.
I'll
My
watch
brother
it.
was trying to talk me into 6 and telling me why it's worth watching and all that stuff. I was just like, I just don't care.
Yeah, I'll watch it because I've seen the other ones. Like, and that's just it just becomes that weird perfunctory. Like, I don't know why I can't break it on other stuff. Like, I broke it on Star Wars. I just stopped watching Star Wars one day.
Yeah.
I will say I'm kind of like a Jen Ortega fangirl right now too, so I think that'd probably be why I'd watch it.
Yeah. But I can't break it on Scream. I can't break it on Saw movies. I'll watch the new Saw when it comes out. It's just,
I haven't watched the last probably 4 Saw movies.
they're so terrible. Dude, the one with Chris Rock is so fucking abysmal.
Yeah.
And like, I hate it, and it's funny.
I seriously haven't. I probably only watched the first 3. Like, honestly, that's probably, I gave up pretty early on with Saw. I like the first one. I saw this meme recently that I felt very seen is where, in the first movie when he is got the, he's reaching out, like the key is just beyond his reach, or maybe it was the gun that was beyond his reach. And he's reaching, but then he has the saw, and they're like, why didn't you use the saw to give you that few extra inches to pull it closer to you? Are you really that fucking stupid? I don't know. Something about also, I saw a couple of really good Saw ones. Apparently, in one of the more recent ones, they were like, the meme was, somebody explaining how they like used, CGI and all this stuff to age someone down. And they were like, Tobin Bell, don't worry, I'll just put a hat on backwards.
Yeah. He just wears a hat and a hoodie. He's like,
yeah, they're like, oh, he's not 70 now.
Right.
He's 30.
And that's the thing. That's why I keep watching them, because I just love the hoops they fucking jump through to make this, like, try to make any bit of fucking sense. Because you can tell most of this wasn't planned at the beginning. Like, obviously not.
Of course. No one in a bajillion years when they made that first movie said, we're going to still be doing this 10 movies later.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And so now they're doing the same thing with Scream. They have they have characters coming back. They have new characters coming back. They're killing off some people at a slow rate, but it's just like, it's great to just see, like, how do you try to make this relevant to what the original film was?
Well, isn't like someone, I mean, obviously like Sidney Prescott, is not in the movies anymore, right? But isn't it now like one of the like stars of the movie is related to somebody else, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's a lot.
The one girl in 5 she's the daughter of Skeet Ulrich's character in 1.
Okay.
Yeah. She's Billy Loomis's daughter.
Yeah, like and we've already had Billy Loomis's mom. Aunt Jackie came back and played Billy Loomis's mom. Listen, for me, the franchise peaked when you've got Timothy Olyphant and Aunt Jackie are the killers. Like, how do you get any better than that? Those two people, they're on like my Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Aunt Jackie and Timothy Olyphant.
They're going the opposite direction of Star Wars too, if you think about it, because Billy Loomis was the killer and so was Mama Loomis, but now this new younger female character, she's a good guy in 5.
Okay, so
she's now taking the I guess it's not the reverse of Star Wars, it's the same as Star Wars, because she's Luke Skywalker. Right. So then in the next 3 movies 20 years from now, her kid will be the killer.
Yes.
Like Kylo Ren.
They are in a Star Wars feedback loop right now.
Hell yeah.
Inception level Star Warsing over in the Scream universe, guys. All right. I think that's all the questions. We'll do another one of these if yins guys like it. It's always fun. Thank you for submitting all the questions. Thanks for our social media friends and listeners for throwing some fucking questions our way that we could answer. And then next week, tune in for another minisode. But during that minisode, we will also tell you what our robot rampage picks are going to be for the Showdown episode in April. So if you got suggestions, throw them our way via social medias. Because this is one that's like nothing comes immediately to mind. So I think there's a lot of good options to go with. So, all right. Anything else I'm forgetting here, boys and ghouls?
Not that I can think of at the moment. I don't know what we're doing next week. I have a bunch of ideas. But yeah,
we got ideas, baby.
Yeah,
we got ideas. We gonna be here. We gonna be doing a some bitchin' minisode. And you know what, guys? Right around the corner, it's gonna be camp slasher season pretty soon here, guys. It's gonna be April soon. The Last Drive-In's coming back. Gonna be watching movies outside. I'm excited to get back into it. Like, we're getting out of that lull that is the absolute biggest piece of shit part of the year, which is January, February, and March. Once you get in the summertime, I mean, that's practically Halloween by that point. So it's coming back around, guys. All right. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm whoever was banging Anna Kendrick in the Twilight movies, because that's the protagonist I am.
That's who Steve is. All right. See you later. Bye.